Bonjour. Hello, everybody. I am Laurie Kempen. I'm going to start out just by sharing my screen here. Um, and I teach French at Seattle Central College, and I'm just starting with a world map here. We're in the World Languages department. The blue here is places in the world where French is spoken. So one here in South America, here in the Caribbean, here over in the South Pacific. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our program. First off, we offer 6 quarters of French. We are the only language in the district that has 6 quarters. So you go through all of first and second year. So we're also the only language that prepares you to transfer as a junior in French or a related major. The program is lots of fun. We do lots of stories from various French-speaking places. I like to focus on areas outside of France and outside of Europe. So we look at cultures and film and music from different places like North and West Africa, French Polynesia, France, Switzerland, Belgium, and others. I recommend also getting a global studies emphasis or a social justice emphasis. And with either of those, that will help you with a future major in, for example, international relations, international business, or if you want to work for a nonprofit in a French-speaking country, that would help you. I started out with just a few examples of pictures. So here we have a view of Moorea, an island in French Polynesia in the South Pacific. And here we have a picture from Senegal, from the island of Gorée, which is just off of the coast near the capital city, Dakar. And of course, you probably know the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. I got to spend a month in French Polynesia, and like I said, I like to focus on cultures outside of Europe. And so my specialties are Senegal and Moorea. This photo is from Senegal. There are lots of people who fish for a living primarily, but also to get food. And so that's a picture of that. The rest are actually of Moorea. And I am just tempting you with some gorgeous photos to lure you into taking French. Here are more photos from the island of Moorea. This one and this one are part of a big festival that takes place every July called Heva. And there are all kinds of competitions. It encourages a resurgence of traditional practices. Oh, this one too, sorry. That's a canoe race. They have all kinds of canoe races. They have competitions with costumes made from natural fibers that are collected just before this competition and made into gorgeous dresses and headdresses and other costumes. This is an example of one of the competitions they have. They lift boulders, and there are different weight classes for that. They also have coconut tree climbing races and running to the top of the mountain and collecting tropical fruit races and hot coal walking races, or not a race in that case, just being able to make it across. Anyway, so a few of these are just beautiful photos. This is the cathedral in Papeete. So this is not in Moorea, actually, it's in Tahiti, which is the island where the capital Papeete is. And I found the cathedral very interesting because all the stained glass represented Polynesian people. So even though it's Catholic, Jesus and Mary and all the saints looked Polynesian, and I thought that was really cool. Here we are in France. The first two photos are from Mont Saint-Michel, and then these two are from Paris. You can see here the pyramid entrance to the Louvre. This is the Seine, the river that goes through Paris. Here we have more from France. You have Charles de Gaulle Étoile, Notre Dame, which is moving along quickly in the repairs. Some of the castles from the Loire Valley, Chenonceau and Chambord. And you have here a couple of pictures from a city in the Alps called Annecy, which is just gorgeous. Here is Senegal, and I got to spend a good portion of a summer there staying with a family. These guys were my homestay. And this is a baobab. This is actually a very small baobab. They get to be enormous. This is the banlieue, the area outside of Dakar, the suburb where I lived, and these people are practicing for a competition with other suburbs and Dakar itself. And this is a market, tons of delicious mangoes. This is another picture from the island of Gorée. And Sena is doing the tea ceremony. They drink 3 glasses of tea, the first being the strongest, after the noon meal and the evening meal. Here we have Morocco, pictures from Marrakesh, one of the old Kasbahs, Hassan II Mosque, and Chefchaouen city here. Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. This is from Carnival, and just some other photos from around the island. You may not know this, but French is actually spoken by 409 million people in 33 different countries, including countries and regions of North Africa, the Caribbean, the South Pacific, Canada, of course, and Europe. It's a very useful language for a lot of nonprofits abroad. It's a primary language of international relations for a bunch of different very important organizations like the UN, UNESCO, the European Union, the International Red Cross, NATO, the Olympic Committee, and just for international law in general, for international courts. A lot of international research is actually done in French, so knowing the language can help in any further studies that you do. In any subject. It's the language of love. A gorgeous, gorgeous language, and it's known to be romantic and beautiful. And any language is actually really helpful for brain growth. So as you learn languages at any age, you create new neurons in your brain, which reduce your chances of having Alzheimer's or other types of dementia. And it just increases your brain size, which is beneficial in other ways as well. So hopefully all of that helped convince you to take French. We use at Seattle Central, we use a communicative method that's in a completely free online book that includes videos and audio. You can download things. You can download the entire book and print it out. Everything is free. It's put together by the University of Texas at Austin. And it's just as good as any book that now you would pay over $300 for. They're incredibly expensive these days. We look at structures. We also work on survival skills, so skills that you need to get around in a French-speaking place. I have a couple of examples. I'm going to save those actually for the end because I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen and reshare. But a couple of students have agreed to allow me to share their assignments with you. So an overview. In French 1, we do the basic survival skills, greetings, families, vacation, descriptions, and weather. In French 2, food, cities, homes, holidays, media, more complex structures for communication. French 3, we look at fashion and clothing, health and fitness, relationships, money, studies, and professional life. And in 4 and 6, it varies, but we do a lot of survival skills. So much more complex dialogues, conversation practice, discussions. We read short books, watch films, discuss both. Students prepare little scenes from things that they have read or watched. So it's lots of fun. So this is just going into more basics, more detail, for French 1, greetings, introductions, basics about studies, numbers, dates, days of the week, questions, family, hobbies, telling time, weather and seasons, vacation and weekend activities, talking about the near future, describing physical and personality characteristics, talking about your daily routine, and comparing. For French 2, we start out with food. In person, we also eat and drink food from different places. I have students do presentations on typical food and drinks from different French-speaking places around the world and bring in examples for us to taste, which is a lot of fun. More about questions, how to give and understand directions to get around, describing places, talking about past actions or trips, holidays, traditions, answering questions with pronouns like her, us, it, them, describing where you live, giving commands, talking about your routine in the past, talking about chores, what you do and don't like to do, and the media, and then telling a simple story in the past. In French 3, I mentioned health, fitness, fashion, clothes, information questions, university life, giving advice, professions, working conditions, talking about the future, love and relationships, finances, hypotheses, what could happen or would be. That's the conditional tense. In French 4 to 6, so your second year, like I said, it varies. We do more advanced structures. There's some review of the first year and then moving on to more advanced structures and then really using the language in context, doing reading, like I said, watching films or film clips, discussing both and other things, listening to music. We do that at all levels. We do film clips at all levels. We do speaking at all levels, and starting in French 3, we get to where we can discuss more. Here are some examples of some of the books that we've used a lot. Kirikou et la Sorcière is based on a traditional West African legend or story. Le Petit Prince, you might know, by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Le Petit Nicolas. And then here are a few films that we've watched or that we've watched at least parts of. We also have worked with the film for Kirikou. So in general, I use a lot of songs and videos, films, or film clips. These are some other films and singers that I've used in my classes. So here we have something about what you can do with a French degree. French has been shown to be the second most important language for business after Mandarin, which might surprise you. Because of the population growth in Francophone or French-speaking countries of Africa, some projections show French might even become the dominant language in the world with 1 billion speakers by 2060. And it is, for whatever reason, one of the top 10 areas of study that leads to higher earnings and less unemployment. It's also been shown in studies that learning French promotes critical thinking and writing more than other subjects. Whoops. I'm sorry, I have opened something else. Okay, here are some examples of future job areas. International business and law, international relations, nonprofits, working in French-speaking areas, being a diplomat, a medical or other kind of interpreter, a museum curator, a teacher or professor, a translator, technical writer, travel agent, or political analyst. So if anyone has any questions, you can ask me questions or email me, laura.kempen@seattlecolleges.edu. My phone number is 206-934-6909. So I'm going to stop the share and continue recording so that I can show you these examples I was talking about. So I'm going to finish up with a couple of student assignments. First, we've got Jessie in first quarter French. Let me share the screen, and I will need to share the sound. Come on now. Share sound. Okay, and then here we go.
Il y a souvent des nuages et plus souvent, mais quand il fait du soleil, c'est très beau. Quelle saison préférez-vous et pourquoi? Je préfère.
I'm just going to stop there because you get the idea, and I don't know if you speak any French. There's someone from third quarter doing an assignment where students are supposed to share an object that represents them in some way. So here's India.
Bonjour, c'est une veste de moto que j'aime beaucoup. J'ai acheté pour un anniversaire très grand quand j'étais 40 ans. C'est bonne fête. Le cuir, c'est très doux comme la bière. J'aime la garnissage rouge et il y a aussi un ouvrir pour les bouteilles dans l'intérieur. Je ne bois plus, mais je pense que c'est très mignon et utile.
Okay, and I'll stop that one there. So thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. Au revoir.